Well, this is a dark day indeed, my friends. Now, look, before I get into it, let me just say I'm not one to try and raid on someone's parade. I don't want to, spur hate speech or any of that bullshit towards this person, but we need to look at the facts, alright? Now, I got wind of this award today. I was looking at the internet like I always do when I wake up. I watch a couple of videos before I get out of bed, usually commentary based. And this is the first thing I see. Kathleen Kennedy wins the Fellowship Award from BAFTA. I don't know what it stands for. It's an abbreviation, which for an award ceremony, which has just thrown its credibility out down the fucking toilet. BAFTA is what it's called, and they awarded Kathleen Kennedy, the head of Lucasfilm under Disney's ownership. They awarded her with the Fellowship Award, which is apparently the highest award they have. Kathleen Kennedy wins this award. All right, let me just state before this video isn't going to be too long. I'm going to try and keep it under 10. I'm going to try and keep it under 12 minutes. Kathleen this will be covered in depth on the next podcast. We're going to go through the entire award ceremony, but I just had to get my thoughts out there, what I think this is. Now, I watched the entire award ceremony from start to finish. It's based in the UK. They had the Duke of Cambridge, Prince William, comes out and bestows the award, does a speech, and what he basically said was, it's our duty to acknowledge diversity. It's because this person, we acknowledge diversity, which is why this person has been considered, and why we've chosen to honor her with this award. It was essentially an SJW's wet dream, the speech, which really got under my skin. I was like, this is a filmmaking celebration award ceremony, correct? Why are we not celebrating competence? Why are we trying to celebrate diversity? Diversity is great, obviously, but why is diversity taking precedence over competence? And that's the crux of the issue, because if diversity didn't take precedence or priority over competence, well, Star Wars would be alive and breathing. I guess it is still alive and breathing, but not the heartbeat is whimpering at this point. There is almost no life left in it whatsoever. The Force Awakens drove away a good chunk of old school Star Wars fans. I stayed. I still had faith. The Last Jedi killed just about any and all enthusiasm. I'd say about a good 60% of what remained of the Star Wars fandom. Killed off all their enthusiasm whatsoever, with a 40% still remaining of dedicated Last Jedi loyalists, shall we call them, which I since call them the Johnson cult. And then the Rise of Skywalker, which was the next film after that, alienated those people by basically giving them the middle finger, much to my delight, mind you. I enjoyed that part of the Rise of Skywalker, but the film itself was an even worse dumpster fire of incompetence. So incompetence after incompetence after incompetence, not to mention a very high staff turnover of directors either leaving or being fired and replaced last minute, budgetary costs, reshoots, and the rise of a very vocal and non-toxic fandom, mind you, in the fandom menace. People like to label them as toxic. I don't consider myself a part of the fandom menace. I do very much like them, though. I endorse them. But these people in the fandom menace have risen up because of incompetence, not because of diversity, because of incompetence, and they're angry. And this is sparked on the internet because of the sharp decline of one of Western culture's most treasured and iconic film series, most iconic media series, in fact, Star Wars. Star Wars was created by George Lucas. It shattered into, I guess, legend at this point. I call it legendary. That film was so integral to filmmaking, what it did in 1977, what it did to uniting people, around the world, mind you, everyone loved it. Even the Japanese bloody loved it. They gave it like a silent ovation, which is apparently the highest compliment a Japanese audience can give. Like, this shit was like world uniting, world changing, and it was done in the Western world, and it was made by a single filmmaker with a singular vision, and disregarding the prequel hate, it was still the most important and iconic and most beloved IP in 2012. All right. Now, George Lucas appointed Kathleen Kennedy, not Disney. Kathleen Kennedy has since run the company under Disney's regime and made her own regime, and prides herself on hiring over 50% of her staff at Lucasfilm as female. Not that that was an issue before or ever was, but that's apparently a fucking selling point for her. And this person, like I said, her leadership has led to incompetence. Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Solo. The one spark, I'll admit, was Rogue One, but that still had a shit ton of incompetence and complications during production. Okay. The Vader scene, apparently that was Kathleen Kennedy's. I don't know if that was her idea, but apparently the way the finished product looked, she thought it needed some sparks. So they decided to include the Vader scene. I don't know if the Vader scene was her idea, but like Rogue One is like the one spark of incompetence I can maybe credit her for. But the fan base, which was once heavily enthusiastic, is in shambles. The money is running dry, man. Say what you want about The Rise of Skywalker. I don't know what kind of box office it did, but the numbers keep dropping. That much is undeniable, and numbers don't lie, people. So from a financial standpoint, she's incompetent. From a fan base, from a leadership standpoint, she's incompetent. From a public image standpoint, she's incompetent. But she's pro-diversity, so let's give her this fucking award. Like, what the hell? Like, I cannot wait to go through this award ceremony. This reward ceremony honestly made me sick, right? I was having indigestion when I was watching it. I was like, I wanted to slap the Duke of Cambridge across his stupid face. Daisy Ridley and John Boyega, they're both British. They came out, they gave a speech. That was quite touching. I enjoyed them. Some of it was cringe, but they're just doing their jobs. I've always liked both of them. They even had Steven Spielberg, which Steven Spielberg, don't get me wrong, he gave a good speech. It was very touching as well. And Steven Spielberg has known Kathleen Kennedy for a long time. He's the reason she's getting this award. It's no doubt. I'm not saying he endorsed it, like, personally. I'm just saying, like, it's because of Steven Spielberg's, people are calling Kathleen Kennedy a glorified secretary. I somewhat agree at this point. I don't want to discredit her entirely, but like, I've heard I'm even better saying that she stood on the shoulders of giants, George Lucas being one of them, Steven Spielberg being the other. And while I liked Steven Spielberg's speech, it's pretty clear that they just added him in there to basically give their decision credibility. I'm not saying he was against the decision. Kathleen Kennedy is a close friend of his. But it was just so, like, for anyone who's educated on what this woman's film history has been since taking charge of Lucasfilm, this is honestly an incredible slap in the face. Like, it's almost like they're intentionally spitting in our faces. We know she's incompetent. We know Kathleen Kennedy does not deserve this award. I can't speak for behind the scenes. I'm sure she's given a ton of jobs to a lot of people. She's already taken a lot of jobs away from a lot of people. I'm sure she has a very wonderful family. I'm sure in person, you invite her over for coffee. She's a nice person. I've said my fair share of insults towards her. Most of it was just out of rage for the product. Some of it was for her, I suppose. Look, I'm conflicted. Part of me just wants to swear my head off, but I don't know. Something about me is weird here because I don't really want to necessarily rain on her parade. She won an award. She should pat herself on the back by all means. And her family should be proud. I'm sure her daughter's proud and all that jazz. But this sets a very bad precedent. Granted, the Saturn Awards, blew their credibility long before BAFTA did by giving Rian Johnson the best screenplay fucking award for The Last Jedi. So, there's already a fucking precedent for this, guys. But in terms of Kathleen, I feel it's an even bigger slap of the face because she approved Rian Johnson. She helmed The Force Awakens with JJ and The Rise of Skywalker with JJ. She was a huge advocate for Solo and a big problem for its production as well. She unfairly sacked many directors. I think it was Disney's decision. I won't blame her for everything. Disney certainly had a hand in the other incompetences resulting in Star Wars, like giving the licensing rights to EA. That's not on Kathleen Kennedy. Though she did, I'd imagine, I don't think she made it very easy for the developers because they had to tie all the games in with the fucking canon, limiting their creativity. But again, what does this award tell us? It tells us it's okay to fuck up. On the global level, it's okay to fuck up and still be rewarded for it. I have lost many jobs in my youth. I mean, I'm not that old, but I was back when I worked at a deli. I lost my job for incompetence. I was doing all right. It was my first job, so I was doing all right. The boss comes in one day, he's never there. When he does come in, I'm nervous. I fucking screw up a regular customer's order. By the end of the day, I'm no longer working there. It was that simple. I worked at a grocery store. I was working out the back. I didn't rush to the counter fast enough, apparently, to address a customer's order at the counter. They needed help at the front counter, and instead of, I guess I should have sprinted there because I was power walking. I didn't arrive there quick enough. I didn't get a raise for it. I got fucking sacked. I lost my job. You know what I mean? I have a very low tolerance for people who do little mistakes in retail. Granted, I've worked in retail for a number of years. But at this point, and I am compassionate for to some degree, but when I see them doing basic mistakes that I was once let go for goodness sake, it gets on my nerves. And I'm like, if that was me, I'd be gone by now. In my world, in my eyes, and then I see Kathleen Kennedy screwing up on the global scale, and she's getting the fucking award for it. What the fuck? Is this not the real world? You ruined my hour for, I imagine a lot of you who are watching this, you ruined our most beloved piece of media from our childhoods and our adolescence and in our adulthoods. I still loved Star Wars into my adulthood before Disney got its mitts on it. You ruined it. You shat on your mentor's work, because you do mention George Lucas as your mentor. Thankfully, you had that much humility. But you shat on your former mentor's work. You've caused an internet implosion over this because of how bad your product is now under your leadership because of your incompetence. And all you have to say for it is, we've employed this percentage of women now works in our industry. Please clap. Please give us a clap on the fucking back. Great. And now you're getting an award for, I don't know what the fellowship award is. That award has lost all any meaning it once had. Just like the Saturn Screenplay Award is now down the fucking shitter. And it's a shame for BAFTA because that was once the most, according to Prince William at least, that's the most prestigious award BAFTA has to offer. So, well done. Way to ruin something else. Granted, it wasn't Kathleen didn't intentionally ruin this for a change. It was the people who were, maybe Disney had a hand in it. I don't know. Whoever the hell gave her this award should be ashamed of themselves. Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know. I guess take pride in this award. It is an award nonetheless. You don't deserve it, but, enjoy it with your family. Know that there are millions around the world who are disgusted that it was bestowed upon you. Check the like-dislike ratio on BAFTA. It's not pretty. It's like 50-50. Well, it's like 60-40, but it's not good. And I think that's just because a lot of people haven't watched it, because it was on less than 40,000 views when I saw it. But feel free to check it out. I'm gonna actually link it in the description below when I'm done ranting here. But yeah, guys, like that's the message they're trying to give to people around the world, and no one's buying it. Or very little people buying it. Because guess what? People live in the real world. People get fired for incompetence. They do not get rewarded for incompetence. I've been fired for incompetence. I've been fired for a very little incompetence, but I still got fired. I did not get rewarded. I did not get a raise. I did not get a pat on the back. I did not get okay, we'll give you a second chance. No. I was out the door. Just like I'm sure many of you watching this were out the door. This is bullshit. And, this sets a very, there was already a precedent set. This sets an even worse precedent. And, once again, thank you for killing Star Wars, and enjoy your fucking award, I guess. Well done. Hollywood needs to educate itself. BAFTA needs to educate itself. Prince William needs to fucking educate himself. Yeah, alright, that's all I got to say. We will cover this more in depth on the podcast, everybody. Check it out. AI core number 6 will be sometime this weekend. Sometime this weekend. And, my work is usually scripted. This was not a scripted review. It was a rant. It is designed to be a rant. It is not a representation of my actual work. But I do these every so often from time to time just to get my thoughts out there, just to see what you guys all think. Hope I didn't stutter too much. Hope you enjoyed the pontification of words that some of you seem to enjoy from me. And I hope to see you all soon for what else I have to say on the matter. But we will go through this in depth this weekend. And, won't that be something? All right, take care, guys. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I very much appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time.